You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Cafe. This is Miss SC, your host. Also on the panel today is Fox, and we have Miss Kiki.
Hello.
How are you ladies doing today?
Good. Very good.
Doing
nice.
good?
Yes.
All right. We're going to be talking about women who keep their last name of their ex after divorce. What's up with that?
Where do you get these topics?
No, this one.
This is serious.
I know. My goodness.
Well, I'm one of them.
Hold up.
Wait, you got your ex's last name?
Yeah, I still have my. I don't have my maiden name is not Hanson. Yeah, I still have my married last name.
How long have you been divorced? Are you legally divorced?
Yes, we only been divorced for it's actually final for a year.
1 year?
Yes.
Okay, I can kind of see
Yeah.
the 1 year until you plan on changing
that's getting changed before the summer's over.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I think I kept it though more or less because the divorce was new, and I have 2 children still that have that name, so I kind of looked at it still as, well, it's not just his last name, it's my 2 kids' last name. You know what I mean? But no, that's getting changed.
We're going to talk about that a little bit about, just so the audience knows, we posed that question on Facebook as well, and we got several, or a lot, responses, and we're going to try to hear some of those in our next segment. But let me ask this question first. Should women keep the last name?
No, I say change your name back. I say change your name back to your maiden name.
Why?
Why should we keep their last name?
Why not?
We don't belong to him anymore. Those papers are gone and over, done with.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Fox, what do you think? Should women keep the last name?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I figure if you're done. Take your name with everything else that you took. Take your name with you. Just take it.
Okay. So we know though that a lot of women don't give back the last name. Yes. This is where the issue is. Mm-hmm. They keep it, mm-hmm. and they have many reasons for why they keep it. What do you guys have any idea why? Do you have any friends or family that like?
Yes,
I just need to know like what the reasoning is behind keeping.
I have an aunt who still holds on to her married name, and they've been divorced for years. I mean, years on top of years, and she still holds on to the last name. I really don't know why she does it, but she never really gets around to why she does it. It's almost like excuses, but it sounds more or less like she really wasn't ready to let him go.
So
you know what I mean?
How many years did you say they've been divorced?
I would say almost 10.
So we're 10 years into the divorce, and she still has the last name.
Yes.
So do you think she's still into the man?
Kind of, sorta. Yeah, I mean, she goes out, she does her thing, she's not seeing him, things like that, but yet and still I think there's still a piece of her that really holds on to that part that she was married. You know what I mean? Like, not really holds on to him, but just the fact that she was a married woman at one time, I think that's what she holds on to.
Okay, I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, like I really don't. But the thing is that some women just feel like, oh, they just want to be married. Some women get into marriages where they shouldn't be in marriages. It's just a fact to say that I'm a married woman. I'm married. You know, just that title.
But you're
of
not
being married.
if you're divorced.
Exactly.
It's one thing because it's very deceiving if you're not married. Once you're divorced, you're divorced.
You're divorced.
And to carry that last name. And technically, to me, I feel it doesn't belong to you.
It doesn't.
I don't understand where women feel that they have some type of ownership to that name after a divorce.
I think it's just delusional.
I think some of them don't want to admit to the failure. I think maybe that's why
Yeah.
they hang on to it too.
Okay, but that's still
Listen, I'm one to
Denial.
say to give it back.
Me- that's
I'm
what I
just trying to
said.
think of how some of the other women think, and I think that maybe just it's a sign of failure that they're divorced, and that's the one thing that they're allowed to hold on to out of it. Besides
Not for
children,
nothing,
Yeah.
But the
Yeah, that's
divorce
right.
rate today, I could go with that back a little bit. But today, they're going through those marriages and divorce like,
yeah, well, because
Like it's
people are
water.
getting married for all the wrong reasons.
reasons,
So, of course, the divorce rate is going to be increasingly high.
Well, I understand that some people, I think the biggest reason is, like you said, the children. And I still have a bone to pick with you because that's one thing if all the kids had the last name, but when only a couple of them have it, I don't get what the whole name thing has to do. If you're divorced, I think Fox and I, as we always do, and you too as well, we always kind of hash out the discussion before we bring it. But one of the things Fox said was, the damage to me is already done while you're going through the divorce process. So I don't get the whole name. I think the name thing is the least of a kid's worry.
Yeah.
By the time they've been, and some of them, especially celebrity divorces, some of them, they are, those kids go through the ringer with them. They take them through court. They take them, they know what's going on. So when people say, well, I'm keeping the last name because of my kids and we don't want it to confuse the kids, kids don't get that confused.
They don't. I wouldn't say I kept the last name because of kids, because of confusion. I kept it because, like, at one time I was being selfish. Like, I'm not giving you back your last name. I don't care who you're with.
But do you really think of that, though? Do you, literally in your brain think that way? Like,
No,
do you think,
I probably was just going through my little phase at that time because I was mad. But no, he can have his last name, girl. As soon as I can get back to the other state, because you can't change it unless you go back to the state where you got married. I'm not from here in Rhode
So
Island, so I
I
have to
think
go
what
back to
I'm
the
trying
other
to
state
get at,
go
my
change
question is, do women mentally think about that last name? Okay, I'm not with him anymore. I'm divorced. I had to give him the furniture back. I had to give him the keys back from the apartment. I had to give the keys to the Beamer back. But I'm not going to give back the last name. I'm just trying to get
It's just a spiteful thing. It's just spiteful. It's
Right.
not. It's not even. It probably doesn't even mean anything to them. It's just out of spite.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And I don't even think it's spite towards the ex-husband. I think it's for
to
the next person
to the new lady coming along.
that comes along.
It's to the new lady. It's not towards him.
Let's talk about that because so even though the woman is innocent, has nothing to do with your divorce, you want to spite her because she's going to be the next woman?
A lot of women think like that, and you know they do. That's why we're here today, because that's how women are. They're trifling like that, and I don't think that. I think it depends on the situation. Like if someone is divorced, if the woman is divorced because she wants to be like she left, I don't think that it matters. But if she gets left by the guy, I think that she's gonna hold on to every single thing that she can, and she's gonna make it miserable, as most of them do, for the next person that comes along.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I was the one who left, though. I was the one who left, and I still just never gave back the last name. I was the one who left.
I think it should be automatic. When you get divorced, you should automatically get your last name
But you know
back.
something? But the thing is, with the courts, they don't automatically give it back to you.
Well,
You definitely have to ask for it.
And I understand that, but here's how I feel. You were happily, readily available to go change it to his last name. So I don't understand the whole, because I think some women feel, or people say that they're lazy and they don't want to do the paperwork or whatever the case may be. But my thing is, you did the paperwork to change it to his last name. I don't get
paperwork
that
to
whole
file for divorce, so you might as well file
right.
it.
You went through the paperwork for divorce.
Yeah, you might as well do the paperwork for
I
the
don't
last
get
name,
it.
yeah.
I tried to sit with the question and reason with it. And
Still haven't gotten an answer that we fully understand. I know
You-
I
you-
definitely
you-
haven't.
You really
'Cause
won't.
in my
there's
mind,
really
it's just take it back.
Exactly, because there's really no reason for you to hold on to the last name. When it's all come said and done to the end, there's really no reason to hold on to that last name.
I think there's one good reason,
Unless he
but even
dies.
that one is selfish in a way, because the only one I think that I can think of that would be a good reason would be if you're married to a celebrity or somebody of importance or status, then you want to keep that last name. So I don't know, ladies.
Does it take as much work to change it if you hyphenate it?
I don't know.
To hyphenate, you still have to pay to put that other last name back on. It doesn't matter. Like
I
if
think
you
I'm gonna keep mine.
you
I'm gonna keep my own name.
well, when you get married, you don't pay to put it on or to change it. But to change it back, if you don't get court's permission,
Well,
you
I
will
think-
have to change it. You have to pay to change it.
I think the whole purpose, and I would hope that the whole purpose that they do that is that people take into consideration when they're getting a divorce of everything that they have to do, and it'll be painful for you. A divorce should be painful, not an easy breeze
Exactly.
that you just go through and, I'm out one day, I'm in one day and out the next day. So there should be a penalty for you to get your name back. But a lot of women are not doing it. I'm not sure, if it's the kids, if they're lazy, if it costs too much, or if I'm done, I'm done. If I'm divorced, I'm divorced. And I think it's worth doing some overtime
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
to get my name back, my maiden name.
I agree.
But when we come back, we're going to kind of talk about, I was reading an article, and this one woman said, or she asked the question, is it disrespectful to keep my ex-husband's last name, to her fiance?
Oh. Wow.
So,
Um,
you want to talk about that now, or you want to wait until we come back?
I mean, we can talk about it now. I mean, my thing is that if that's what your name is, then you just have to go through the proper channels and hurry up and marry your fiance, I guess. I mean, at least the fiance.
But she wants to keep it after marriage.
Oh, after marriage?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, she's crazy.
Yeah, because it's common sense.
Oh, I
that
thought
you
it
would
was
have
through
to
the-
keep it.
right.
No, who's going to change their name?
She said after. I missed the
No,
after.
oh no, after.
Oh.
She wants to keep it. The question is it disrespectful to her fiance
Absolutely.
to keep
Yes.
her ex-husband's
Yes,
last
it
name?
is.
Absolutely. Why would she want to do that? I don't
It's her
understand.
name.
But it's not her name.
But it's not, though. Like,
That's not her name.
If she has not changed her name back to her maiden name, that's her
But
name.
then why get married to
But-
another guy
right.
then if you still want to keep your ex-husband's last name?
I'm just asking. I
but
don't know.
why would you want to keep your ex-husband's last name? Like, if you want to keep a name, go back to your maiden name.
Exactly,
And
and
keep that,
keep
but
that.
not keep your ex-husband's last name.
I'm wondering, this just my thought, would it make a difference if the person was a celebrity?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't make a difference. I would still want to change my name, but I don't care if my ex was a celebrity.
But
if
in
I'm
the
in love with
public-
someone else,
Well, I mean, I
Well,
think
if you-
there are
no.
people that they do keep their maiden name. I mean, that's a tough one because there are a lot of people who have branded themselves with
Off
their-
of
with their
their
maiden
husband's name. Off
yeah,
their
but even off their
husband
maiden name, I know women that are married that got married and never changed their name to their husband's name. They kept their maiden name. They didn't even change their name
That's
at
Well,
all.
then
I
that
would
would
rather
not
do
be an
because I don't want to
issue.
have to argue
The
with
issue
nobody.
is keeping the
exactly. But why?
ex-husband's
I
name.
wouldn't care if this guy is a celebrity, mayor, president. I wouldn't care if I'm in love with someone else and I am marrying this other person. I would give my ex-husband back his name because I'm with someone else.
So why
That
wouldn't you just
matter.
give up the name in the first place then? Why
Yeah,
do you
but
gotta
that-
wait until you meet somebody else?
No,
to do it?
I'm saying, but even still, yes, we should always give the last name back. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but just because the person's a celebrity, that's the only reason why you're going to keep it? No, that's not right either.
Yeah,
That's
but
just-
I mean,
if
in
it's
the
for
public eye,
promotion, yeah.
it would make
If-
sense
if-
for you to do
if-
so.
No.
You can't.
Because and then in the public, while you're walking down the street, it's okay for your husband to feel a certain way because you was married to Obama, and it's okay for your name to
Yeah.
still. No, it's not.
Yeah,
No,
if
it's
I'm
not.
Michelle Obama,
No. Okay, Okay, so if the tables were turned in let's say your husband had to, because you know the husband can't take the woman's last name when you get married.
Oh, he not getting mine.
What if he held on to the other woman's name, but and he still has her name while you guys are married?
That's his name.
No.
Is he doing it for
That's what
celebrity
you're
or
doing.
public?
Like it's hard
Not
to
just-
change. You can't brand yourself and spend all this time branding yourself with a name, and then you get married, and then you change it because people are gonna be like, who? Like
Right.
it's a lot of money to brand yourself, and when you have products out there, when you have CDs or whatever it is that you have, you can't just change your name because you got married. So
Well, we're gonna pick this up in our next segment. We're gonna cool off a little bit. We're gonna cool off a little bit, and when we come back, we're gonna hear some of the responses that we got from Facebook about why they do what they do and keep that last name. I don't know. If it was worth the money, I might, but no.
celebrities get a pass. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would give a pass. Welcome back to the Single Ladies Cafe. Joining us right now, we have JV, who's going to be giving us some responses from Facebook. Hi, JV.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay,
I guess
so have you been engaged in the conversation that we've been having throughout the first segment?
I have,
You
and I
have?
got answers from Facebook.
Okay, well, can
I'm
you...
very curious to see what Facebook has to say. 'Cause Facebook is interesting.
Yes, they
Yes. Well, the first lady mentioned that she was divorced and she wanted back was the last name and no ties to him at all.
So she gave her last name back.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Right on.
Yes.
Good job.
Good.
All right. So Danny says she was a teenage bride and had the name longer than her maiden name, so she wants to keep it. She would keep it. Would you keep it?
That's kind of different.
So she was married young,
Yeah.
and she had it longer than she had her
Maiden
Maiden
name.
maiden name.
So she was married longer than what she was actually
Yes.
a teenager when she got. Okay.
I don't know if that's a reason or not. Only because I feel that people you can. If someone gets married, say at 25, and then they're married like 26, 27 years, and they have this name that they have gotten and they've kind of developed in that name, who they are is that name. And then if you're divorced, you're divorced. I don't think it has a time frame on it. Like, I think some of the women just want to still have that association either with that man or the name for whatever reason. I'm not sure what. But anyway,
Nice try,
I'd like to
Danny.
talk to her. I would.
Nice
Any
try.
children involved? And
Yeah.
okay.
Alrighty. So Eric mentions in some cases, if you have children with the person, you may choose to keep the same last name. But if there were no children involved, she would change it back in a heartbeat.
I still say it's an excuse. I find the whole children thing, you're keeping it because of the kids. If you explain it to children that mommy and daddy, you have to explain why you're not living together anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why can't you explain why you have a different name? I'm still
I'm in
excuse.
agreement. I think the kids is just an excuse.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
not
so-
only that, if you think logic about it, in today's world or society, a lot of them children don't have the same last name as dad.
They
Right.
don't. I mean, we have a family member that is married. She has her husband's name, and their daughter doesn't.
Right.
The daughter has the
and it's
maiden
both
name.
of their daughters?
It's both
Yeah.
of their. It's both of their child,
never- I'm
and they
not-
got married after she had her,
Oh.
like years later, and they never changed her name. She's making it through society just fine.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think the whole excuse with the children and the confusion. I will say one thing to that though is I can kind of remember when my father passed away and my mom remarried and she had a different name from us. I kind of questioned it, but there was no devastation. I mean,
Right.
I didn't, but it was a question mark, like, okay, because I didn't understand what was really going on. But I think if my mom I mean, I had to figure it out on my own. Probably some schoolyard kid helped me figure it out. But if mom had said, well, you know, I'm married and I'm going to have a different last name from you guys, do you understand or how do you feel about it? I think it would have been a little bit easier for me. But again, it has nothing to do with, I just think people are, I don't know,
It's
putting
just
too
all
much
excuses.
value on
It's
a
just
last name.
excuses.
All right, so Justina has a good point. By keeping it just to piss the guy off. Plus, it's too much trouble to change it back.
So
Do you
we
agree
talked
with
about
that?
that earlier.
Yeah, we kind of talked about
spite
that,
thing.
and yeah, I think Miss Kiki had already said about it being a spike thing.
Spite and
It's
lazy.
drama. It's drama, is what it is, and I think when people they have too much time on their hands, maybe.
Right.
Drama.
Just,
I
yeah,
mean,
just to get them back.
I don't understand. It's more energy to hold on to that type of, you know, obviously you're angry if you're going to do things based on spite to other people. And even to go back to the previous conversation when we were talking about doing it to piss off the other woman, I just think that's like ludicrous to even think that far ahead and waste time and energy
Right.
on someone who probably doesn't care as long as she got the name. She don't
Yeah.
care if you're walking around mad. So I just think, you know, we should think about what we do and how we do things, which brings us back to why we have this show, is to kind of highlight to women some of the stuff that we're doing just ain't cool. Or it's not worth it. I'm just trying to figure out where it's worth a few dollars. You do that at McDonald's with the kids.
Too much
Yeah.
time on their hands.
Too much time. So, did you have any others?
I have one
JB?
long one.
Okay, go ahead.
One
Take it.
long. All right. Courtney Lee has a very good point. She is happily married and has 3 children together. There is nothing he could do to piss her off, even to change her back. It would be the kids, not because I am afraid to confuse them, but she feels she would have to owe it to them. It's one small thing to keep normal from them.
She's married, you
She's
said?
married with 3 kids
Okay. To
with the same guy.
Oh, okay. And what's her issue?
She has nothing he has nothing he could do to piss her off enough to for her to change back to her maiden name.
So when they divorce,
they
there's
divorce,
nothing that he can really do that would make her mad enough
Right.
to say I'm changing the
Yeah,
name.
she wants to keep it.
Well, I
For
don't
the
think it
kids.
has to do to me.
For the kids again, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always goes back to the
Yeah.
kids.
kids, yeah.
Well, I think kids are always used as pawns, whether we want to
Yeah.
admit it a lot or not. We do it a lot as women. We use those kids for a lot of reasons why we want to do some of the things that we do. But my thing is, until you're in a divorce, you really don't know what you would do. And if someone make you
Exactly.
mad enough, and not only that, I don't even think you have to be angry. I think it should just be divorce etiquette. Just
Give it back.
give the name back. Like, it doesn't belong to you. And I think my concern is more with women who keep that last name and the man has moved on and remarried somebody else and you're walking around with the name. Why?
I
I
hear a
think
lot
it's
of
a slap
women.
in your face.
think it is.
Personally, I don't
is a
see
slap.
where if you
Exactly.
keep it would spite me. I'm the one with it now.
Right.
So my thing is, I have it. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm going on about my business. You want to look like the other woman and keep the name? Go right ahead.
I hear a lot of women say that they earned it.
Wow.
Well, I think you do earn it while you're in the marriage. But if you're out of the marriage, what? Yeah, I mean, what? I don't get that whole. You earn what? Right now,
Exactly,
he's
'cause
moved
he's
on with
moved
somebody
on.
else. What are you getting out of it?
Yeah,
I don't
right.
get what you. I understand that whole celebrity thing. Okay, technically, he's a guy probably doesn't even care about me. I probably won't even care about him. What I care is about my name being promoted so that people remember who I am or know who I am. And probably at home, I would have Miss SC, last name of the husband. And then, but when I'm in public, this is my name that people know. It's branded that way. So,
Right.
I don't want to have to go back and keep changing the name for business sake, but for my personal sake, absolutely, you can have that back.
I mean, but then again, on the other side of that too, is you can go back to your maiden name or whatever the case would be, because now they have shows where they say, oh, well, this is the ex of
Exactly.
such and such. So now they're getting their claim to fame.
Hollywood exes,
But
but you're always married to
But then,
them.
like R. Kelly's wife, she's still walking around with that last name, and she's so sick of people looking at her as
Change your
R.
name.
Kelly's.
Change your name.
Nobody who's looking at her that way, because didn't nobody know about her till that show came
But
out.
the thing is that she feels like for her to get out there and to do her dance school, like everybody would feel like she would only make it because of that last name, because of
Not
her.
for nothing, she's
You know what
right.
I mean,
You would only make it because of that last name.
but
if you
but
want
it
to try
shouldn't be
to,
like that. It should be because of her skills, not because of that last name. He didn't even claim her.
but the bottom line is, true. True, but she got
That's what I'm
that last
saying.
name, and
That's what I'm
I
trying to
mean
figure
with
out. Where are you going with that? Because you'll always be known as the lady that R. Kelly didn't claim.
Even if she marries someone else, people are always gonna know her as
yeah,
the.
but you shouldn't.
Only
want-
because of the new reality show. Because if this reality show was not
We
out,
still
we
wouldn't
still
know,
wouldn't
no.
know.
No, well, true.
And they've been divorced
Maybe
for
the
3
public
years.
wouldn't, but what she's saying is that when she's
No.
out, maybe like in a store,
It doesn't
they
matter.
still make her leave because she's his wife. Why do I have to leave though? We're in the same store.
But I
You're over there.
wouldn't want people to. Now that I'm gone, and I don't want to be with. I don't want any ties to him. I still wouldn't want people in the public to look at me like, oh, that's so and so's wife. I wouldn't want
But
that.
they
anymore.
don't know that about her. I mean, she's sitting in the hair salon getting her hair done, and all these women are talking about how they're sleeping with her man, and none of them know that that's the wife that they're talking
well,
about.
that's that person, but there are people that are,
Maybe
like in that situation.
I mean, I feel like it's the same thing. Like, I don't even think Hollywood knew about her. It's the same thing with Emily and Fabulous. She was his designer, and when they go to red carpet
Exactly.
events, she gets stopped at the red carpet, and he keeps going.
Yeah, but just like where R. Kelly was, she couldn't even get into. She would try to get into his show, and she couldn't even get in. They stopped her. She was like, "I'm his wife," and they're like, "Really?"
James or JV, thank you very
No
much for bringing those questions. We can stay here all day debating
could.
about those responses. When we come back, though, we want to talk about the should women give up those wedding rings? Why are they still walking around with the wedding ring? I don't get it.
so
Why?
Well, I mean, next time you want to post that question on Facebook on the Single Ladies Cafe
I
fan
will
page
do
so that
that.
they can answer that question.
I will get
and
right
see
on
when
that.
we get back.
Well,
yes.
uh,
Save for the next episode.
yeah, I think so. But can we talk about a little bit today?
Yeah, you can.
I don't know. I just think that we do a lot of things that's really, I think if we just did it the right way, it would save a lot of headaches for the children, and it would save a lot of headaches for ourselves.
Well, the right way goes back to if they just do it in the divorce
beginning.
process, then
beginning.
you'd be good
I think
to
it
go.
should be a new law.
in the beginning.
It should be a new law. It really should.
Just like they should renew marriage licenses after a while.
After
Just like you
certain-
got to
yeah.
renew your driver's license, you need to
At
renew
least
a
every
marriage
5 to 10
license
years or
too.
something, it should be renewed.
Because if it ain't right, then you need to just let it
Well,
go.
that's something like what you mean the application process, or you mean
No,
the ceremony process?
It don't have to be the ceremony, but at least go through some
The
type
license,
of counseling,
the
make
marriage-
sure everything
right.
is right before you go
The
on
marriage
to that another 10
certificate
years
should have an
or whatever.
expiration date
Yes.
on it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why bother then? If we gotta go through all
I gotta go through all that for my driver's license.
Nowadays.
It's a mess.
Wow.
At least you know.
I agree with
Just
Bob.
yeah, I think it should have an expiration date, and
It
then
should.
if you
then
should
get-
renew it, then you renew
Yeah,
it. If not,
we
then
just
you
get that
just
stamp. You're expired, and that's it.
Wow. This marriage is over. It's
take your
just
name
done.
back.
Wow. Automatically it should. Don't even have to tell them. Just
You know, someone tried to get slick with me talking about they don't give your last name back automatically, sweetie.
oh.
No, they don't.
I know, but she didn't have to get slick
I know,
though.
exactly.
She didn't have to.
Well,
I didn't
then-
like her tone. I was just saying it should be an automatic thing, and she got slick with me.
Well, you should have called me on that post.
I don't know. Anybody know any celebrity judges that we can talk to?
Judge Mathis.
I like him.
I do too.
He's so handsome.
But he doesn't do marriage, does he? He just do street court.
So then who does divorce,
The
court
divorce.
now?
Oh,
What's the
that's
lady? It used to be Maybelline, but what's the
yeah,
lady name?
Million. She's
No,
still on there.
no, the lady that I looked up the other day.
Oh, Tola.
Yes. It's her now that does it. So I agree with you that just give the name back. And I think the court, stop charging people for names. You know it's complicated. Just
We're in a recession.
just give the name back. I mean, I don't see where. But anyway, I think, if we have a few minutes, we can talk about that whole ring. Why would women that are divorced walk around with their rings on
I don't
still?
know. That's horrible.
Denial.
Yes, it is
Denial.
denial. Yes, it
Well,
is.
we're going to talk about it when we come back. We'll try and figure out what's going on in these women's minds today. Welcome back to the Single Ladies Cafe. In this segment, we're going to talk to Exposure with the Fox. She's going to give us our celebrity news and gossip. Hi, Fox.
Hi, Miss Essie.
Hello. So what do you have for us today?
Well, I have some celebrity news and gossip for you guys today. Actually, I have to start off with some sad news.
Okay.
Usher Raymond's ex-wife, Tamika Foster, her 11-year-old son was in a pretty bad jet ski accident where he sustained head injuries and has been declared brain dead. Wow. Yeah, it's kind of tough. So he was in Atlanta. And he was on the water at one of the lakes out there, and he was with another young lady who they were being towed by another boat, and the jet ski, who actually was being driven by, I believe it's a family friend, he went by them and hit them, and he sustained head injuries, and the young lady received a cut to her head and a broken arm. So right now, I believe he's still hospitalized, and of course, Tamika's faced with the difficult task of having to decide if she's going to pull the plug.
Oh man.
So
that's horrible.
for a mother, we all know
Yes.
that that's definitely a tough thing that you would have to do, and no one would ever want to have to face that decision. But unfortunately, these are the circumstances that she's facing. So. I feel bad. I feel really bad. And of course, all of my prayers and the rest of the Single Ladies Cafe team were praying for a miracle, basically, because being brain dead, there's usually no returning from that. Usher has been reportedly at the hospital to be by Tamika's side as well. And she's gone to Facebook and has, sent a little message to her son, just pretty much just saying, I know you can do it. You're strong. We'll get through this. So hopefully there's a positive outcome for that. And, it's just really tough because she's also going through, a very brutal custody battle with Usher for her 2 younger children that they have together. And, it's just, I hope that this situation will help them kind of grow up a little bit.
Exactly.
And, just come to some sort of understanding and then just tie it all up. I mean, it's just been crazy. If you follow it at all, Usher's been crying on the stand. She's been reportedly threatening him and his girlfriend's life. It's just insane. So I just really hope that this situation kind of brings them together a little bit, just to dead all that
Just
nonsense.
get all that done
Just
without
get it
the
done over
drama.
with. Yes,
Yeah.
it's just not worth it. Like, you're already divorced, just move on.
Yes.
Right.
So, but we definitely do keep the prayers for Tamika, for her son, for the young lady that was injured, as well as the driver of the jet ski, because obviously he's, going through a lot of things right now in his mind too. And right now they don't even know if it's going to be a criminal charge that he's going to face. They don't know if it's alcohol that's involved. Everything's still developing. So hopefully, I really, really hope that there's a better outcome for Tamika's son for this.
So.
But
I hope so.
we'll see what happens. Next, a little bit better, but not so much great. We are talking about marriage and if you should keep the last name of your ex-husband and all that good stuff. So Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes have filed for divorce.
Oh, okay.
Now, I thought they were married a little bit longer than they really were. They were only married for 6 years.
Oh,
I thought it was longer than that. And I thought they would be a couple that would be together for a very long time. The way he was jumping on Oprah's couch up and down,
For him, not for Katie. I think Katie's too young.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they have filed for divorce, and sources are saying that they filed for divorce because Kate says that Tom was too controlling.
I believe that.
I believe it too, absolutely.
me
I
too.
mean, and then some people are saying the Scientology situation had
that's
something to do with
controlling.
it, and some saying, well, no, that has nothing to do with it. She just felt like she was just like, you know, crammed.
She felt like
and
she was
had
with
no,
her dad.
right? And she couldn't make any
But
decisions.
that has been the argument ever since they've been married. That's always been that.
Well, the good news is that normally we know in Hollywood they usually take about months, sometimes years, to actually finalize these divorces, and they have actually come to an agreement.
Oh, good.
And they have a settlement. So the biggest thing that Tom wanted to make sure was that he had, you know, enough time and adequate time to spend with his daughter Surrey, which is their 6-year-old daughter that they have
Yep,
together.
that's right.
now.
Good.
So they came to an agreement with that. Katie has custody, and you know they'll be able to move on and live their lives. And actually, Katie has just gotten an apartment in New York City for her and Surrey, so they seem to be moving along pretty good.
Is she going to change her last name back to Holmes?
I don't know. We might have to. Well,
We'll wait. and see.
she's still using Katie Holmes
Yes.
though, because you remember she's not being addressed
yeah.
as Katie Cruz
Oh,
in the
that's
public
true.
eye at all.
Always been
So
Katie Holmes.
just on the
Okay.
paperwork, we don't know if that's
okay.
going to be the case. But
okay, yeah, it
we'll
should
see.
be.
She
so
might as well
can
take it back.
rack up.
You don't use it anyway.
I mean, that's what I said. I was like, what does she do? Because I haven't seen her since she's been married to Tom Cruise or anything,
Exactly.
but apparently she's done some films and
A
she's
few
made some
things.
guest appearances on some sitcoms and stuff like that. So I guess she's doing her thing still. So next we have, which is new stuff. I just don't know where to go with this because it's just every week somebody is coming out with this situation. R&B singer Frank Ocean has now come forward and confirmed the rumors of him being gay. Now, he did this the same day that Anderson Cooper announced that he was gay, which I already thought that Anderson
me too.
Cooper had done
Me too.
the announcement, but apparently not.
But why does he need to make an announcement? I don't
Maybe he's
understand that.
getting tired of women throwing their panties at him. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But
I watch the show. I never see any going up there, but okay, good point.
you never know what happens in the backstage. I don't know. So, but Frank Ocean, he's an R&B singer, and he's been out for a couple of years now, and he's been making major hits. He was featured on Jay-Z and Kanye West's album that they had together last year, and he came out and he actually released an open letter to his fans on his Tumblr account, and he basically was explaining how he had a relationship when he was 19 with a man and how he was in love and, you know, he just never felt that way. And that's,
So why didn't you come out then?
I think that because it was pretty much it wasn't as easy for people to come out, you know, when you're trying to make it into the industry. So I think that he made his name, and you know, if you listen to Frank Ocean's music, you kind of know that something is just not
I
right.
just thought he was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a deep thinker,
Yeah.
I think, to really listen to his music and really understand what he's saying.
Or maybe it's codes.
It
Yeah,
could
they
be
could
codes.
be.
It could be
Could
codes.
be.
Well,
You have a
because
point.
well, I mean, I think another thing it possibly could be a publicity stunt because he has 3 songs on his new album, Channel Orange, that is coming out. Actually, is already out. It came out early. Now that all this news of him being gay, it was released about a week or so earlier than it should have been, but. He has 3 songs on there, one of them being Bad Religion, which he recently performed on Jimmy Fallon Live, that references him being intimate with or being in love with a man. Pink Matter is another song, and Forrest Gump. So he has 3 songs that are on his album, which is probably about 17 tracks, where he's referencing that he's in love with men or has been in love with men or, you know, whatever the case may be. So I don't know if it's, you know, he had to do it because...
I mean, if he's singing about it, he might as well. I mean, it's not like they're not going to know.
So you can catch Channel Orange on iTunes if you want. It is available. If you want to check out those 3 songs on your own and figure out what's going on for yourself, you may do so. And I mean, he's got the backing of the people in the celebrity world, Beyonce being one of them. She's, you know, she sent the open letter as well and, you know, commending him for being able to come out and express his situation. And you know,
I just don't get the whole coming out thing. Like when I come out of my house, I don't say, "Hey, I'm heterosexual."
That's how
I don't get
know why.
You know
Because
why?
people-
And if someone asked me, then I would just tell them, "Well, yeah."
well, Miss Essie, I
I
don't
just
think
don't
that
get the
right
whole-
now you can. I mean, if people are speculating
I just
that
think
you're
your
a
personal life
lesbian,
should be well. If they're
if
speculating,
they're speculating, you
and
know,
they ask me, then I'll tell them. But I'm not going to send out on Twitter announcement. Hey, Miss
Well,
SC
I mean-
is heterosexual.
But I mean, I just think that maybe they're trying to gain their fan base, and they do it because they need those numbers. And then when they
Exactly.
get
Well,
the people where they want them,
then
you
that's
either
when they
lose them
do
or
it.
you don't. And I
Exactly.
think that for him, he's probably going to gain a lot more fans than he had already
Yes, I think
because
so, too.
Yeah,
that's just what happens.
well,
That's
yeah.
why I say it could be a publicity stunt. Who knows? You never know. But
I don't know.
Wow.
yeah. So
And
last
Anderson Cooper?
Yes,
Really?
Anderson Cooper, you couldn't tell that from years ago.
I don't know.
I could.
I
No,
did.
I could not.
I was not surprised.
I could. He just seemed very
No, I
feminine to
knew
me.
before he made the announcement. I knew then, but for many of the years, no, I did not.
I could. He was very feminine. He was always feminine to me.
Well, they say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I judged that one and I was right.
Exactly.
Alrighty then, ladies.
And lastly, Kourtney Kardashian. Sorry, she gave birth to a baby girl.
Congrats.
Very pretty name. She named her Penelope Scotland. I think that was
is
very
pretty.
cute.
I like
Penelope?
that.
Penelope Scotland. And Scotland obviously is because don't be a hater, Miss.
You see her face?
Don't be a hater.
For
Don't be a
real.
hater. But she gave Scotland because her boyfriend or fiance, whatever he is to her these days, his name is Scott.
That's not her husband? She's not married to him?
No. Have you not been watching the episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians?
I must admit, I haven't been really.
Oh, well, one of the things is that, the deal, because they already have one child together, Mason,
Right.
well, they apparently made some sort of deal that if she has another child, well, if he gives her another child, that they would need to get married. And so she obviously
Gave
was
another
pregnant,
child.
but she is going back and forth with whether she'll actually marry him or not. So she reneged.
So, wait a minute. He reneged?
No,
She
she's
did.
reneging.
Because she's obviously pregnant. She just had the baby. That was he didn't mind having a baby as long as they could get
Back to the
married.
marriage part. So he wants to
He
be
wants to
married
be
and she
married.
doesn't.
She doesn't.
Correct.
She just want the babies.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out why baby number one wasn't that important to make a bet. but-
Listen, I just started with the Kardashians, and they need to be happy for Oprah because I wouldn't have been watching if it wasn't for Oprah. But anyway, congratulations to Kourtney. and
Congratulations.
Scott. I'm pretty sure that
Very
the
pretty
baby
name.
is
It's
absolutely gorgeous. And I think that is all I have for celebrity news and gossip for you guys today. I do also want to say that this segment is sponsored by Carrington Shoes. And if we can get a shot of my shoes, Lisa Carrington, she is a huge supporter of the Single Ladies Cafe, and she was nice enough to provide us with some shoes, or particularly me, Fox. But this segment is sponsored by her, and if you want to check out her shoes, you can go to www.carringtonshoes.com. And that's all I have. So, Miss Essie, I'm going to give it on back to you.
Thank you, Fox. Wow,
Anytime.
interesting.
Wasn't it interesting today?
Yeah, it was just kind of sad starting off with the little guy in the hospital with the accident.
That's very tough. Very
one.
tough. So because you just don't expect such tragedy to happen. And celebrities are kind of exempt. They're not, but you just
Yeah,
don't.
you just look at them like they are. Like, yeah.
So it's very tough.
And Usher is sticking right by.
He
Her
hasn't
and
commented on it, but he's sticking by
been
her.
there.
He's been at the hospital as far as we know. So
That's good.
it.
That's very good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to congratulations to Kourtney with her baby, and I don't know. Congratulations to
Frank Ocean.
You don't have to hide anymore when you work.
to Frank Ocean, who came out last week.
Well, he'll probably get good record sales. I
Yes,
guess I'll be able
I
to
agree.
report and tell you what he did in his first week.
Yes.
Let me know.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go listen to it when we get out.
I want to.
Well, here's the thing. I've never seen him before, so I probably
He's a very handsome guy.
is he?
Very handsome.
I have never seen him before. I know his music and I like his music, but I agree with you that it's a little crazy, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, in his new album, I can tell that when you say he's gonna do the whole let let you know that he's dating men now. Pink
Matter.
Pink
Matter Church.
Well, I think that's just my little uproar about it, is because if I think that you're singing to me, I expect you to really be singing to females, not males.
Well,
that's
maybe
kind of my
that's one of the reasons
Why
he came out.
Well, yeah, because he's not singing to us; he's singing to men. All right, I'm cool with that. That's fine. You can have that. I'll stick to LL or somebody.
You never know these days. But anyway,
I was just about to say the same thing.
but anyway, we're going to wrap it up for this segment. When we come back, we're going to talk about what men think about these women keeping their last name after divorce. We'll be right back. Thank you. How do you guys, like, you were married before, so does your husband have an opinion one way or the other?
Well, I put it like this. He didn't have an opinion, but I got rid of the rings. I sold them.
Okay, but did he have a conscious opinion? Did he?
No.
Okay, so he doesn't mind you having his last name.
No, he doesn't. He wants me to keep it. He doesn't even want me to get rid of it now, but I'm getting rid of it.
Right.
He didn't want me to get rid of the rings either, but I got rid of it.
Okay, gotcha. What do you think most men feel about women?
I actually asked this question to a male who I knew that was married and is now divorced, and he said that he doesn't mind. He didn't care either way, but apparently it's a problem for her new beau that she still has his last name. So my opinion, just based on just asking, I don't think that men really care.
Why do you think that is, though? Because I asked a friend of mine that was married to, actually on his he's in his second marriage. And I asked the same question, and he actually said, I never thought about it.
Wow.
What?
I just don't think they really
How
care.
could you?
I don't know.
I just don't understand how they don't really care when, when they're in that moment and it's like, baby, I want you to have my last name and all that. And then, now I got it, and then now it's gone, and you don't have an opinion on whether I should keep it or not after.
Yeah.
That just doesn't
Well,
make any
not
sense.
only that, as the new wife, and you throw in that line, baby, I want you to have my last name. Well, how many of us do you
Right.
want to have your last
So
name?
you said that last time.
Right. So,
But this ain't Africa. We don't do that here.
or any of those countries where they can have
Exactly,
like more than one
exactly.
wife. But I just found I was a little taken back by that, because to not even think of it at all.
To say you didn't think of it, that's a little like, wow.
Yeah, well, my guess is that if the wife the new wife doesn't have a problem with it, I'm assuming she doesn't have a problem with it, because if she did, he would have thought about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he would have thought about it. But currently, the ex-wife still has the last name.
I don't know. I think I'd have a problem with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I would.
but
Because you know why? Like, we already talked about it, and I think a lot of women just have too much time on their hands, and they're dramatic, and I just think that most of the women that are not with the guys, they're not with the guys not because they don't want to be with the guys. They're not with the guys because the guys have moved on to someone else and they don't want to be with them. So I think that they do same thing like when they have kids. Like, they use the kids.
Yes.
Just to make the other person mad. And I think that they do that with the last name. And I would be upset. I don't think that I would make her know that, but it would bother me a little bit. But I mean, I wouldn't make it known to the other woman, because then of course she's gonna really go out of her way to annoy me with it.
But is it fair that men can walk around and not have a clue as to what's going on? Like you said, it would bother you. So my thing is, if I'm married to him, it's going to bother him too.
Right.
Because I'm going to let him know.
that's what I'm saying.
Check out your girl. your last-
let him
But that
know.
should stay between my man
Yes.
and me. And I think the problem is that men go back, they talk too much.
Yes, they gossip
like,
more
there's
than women,
no
though.
there's
They
no
do.
reason for you to go back to your ex-wife and say, well, my girl don't like that you got. And they do that. Like, it's
Well,
like, why stop it? What are you doing? Like, this is between me and you. What goes
Men
on in
that
our
do
household?
that to me is dramatic.
Yeah.
That's just trifling
There's
and
a lot
dramatic.
more dramatic men in the world than we know.
I think so. Absolutely.
Female traits.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean.
Wow. I don't even think you have to be a Frank Ocean. I mean,
no, you don't.
I
Men
think a lot of
gossip
men.
A lot.
Yeah.
Men gossip a lot.
Yeah.
They don't hold water. Like my mother used to say, they have diarrhea of the mouth, and that's exactly.
Yeah, the
that
social
is
work.
true.
The
I just
social
think-
networks totally blew up this
Well,
spot.
yeah.
Totally blew up this
I
spot.
think that men should have that dialogue. I don't know, like, particularly the women where you've moved on and she may have already moved on too, maybe not married but moved on. I think there should be a conversation about, well, you know, there's a possibility that I may get married again, you know, what are you thinking about doing with the last name? I think there needs to be the same way that you talk about the furniture and you go to the judge and you say, well, let's have a conversation about who's going to get what. It should be the same thing about the last name.
Exactly.
I mean, I know when people, the problem is when people are upset and they're angry and they're not getting along, it's a bitter, you know, there's no reasoning. I mean, actually, I think if a man said that to her at that time, she'd do it just because.
Yeah.
Just because. But I think that even if you and he talk about it, I still think that the other one would do it just because. So I don't think that there's no, even though you're upset about it, I just don't think there's no legal way to make her give up that name.
There should be.
Well, actually,
I agree.
if you put it in the papers when you're doing your divorce, if the guy was to put it in the stipulations on the paper that she is to give up my last name, and it goes to court for that divorce, yes, she has no other choice but to give up that last name.
Well, the
A lot
problem
of
is with
don't do
guys
that.
is because they don't think
They don't
about
do
it.
that.
They don't do
Yeah,
that.
they don't.
Exactly.
Right, and I think when I gave him that question and I brought it to his attention, and he came back with, well, it doesn't bother me that my other wife has my name, but it should.
That doesn't even sound right. My other
I was about to
wife.
say,
You know, well, I don't think he actually said it like that, the other wife, because he's divorced. But
Okay, 'cause that
I
doesn't
just
sound
don't.
right.
Yeah, no,
was gonna say, wow.
don't think. I think he should
Yes,
care. I do. I think
because
he.
I think he should care about how his new wife feels that she's walking around with that last name still.
Well, I still think that that wife doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
No, because I think that if it was a woman that cared, he'd know about it and he would have thought about it by now. There's absolutely no way. So I don't know. I think men need to handle their business a little bit. They need. I think the way we do things are changing, and I think men can no longer sit back and say, well, I didn't know, or I don't care, or I didn't think about it. I think that he is just as responsible or lazy as the women are. That I that's how I feel about that one. I just don't think you should be able to walk
yeah, well,
around.
we know that men are messy anyway, so. I'm not male bashing. I'm just saying.
But I don't know if this person is a person that is, well, a messy person in terms of stuff like that. I really think he really did not think about it. And I think a lot of men don't. I think they move on, which is good. They move on and it's done, it's over. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to, but you caused this.
I have to say, I just think knowing his wife, I find it odd that has never been brought up in
I
conversation.
thought the same thing. But if he said that he has never thought about it,
Then she
then
didn't
she
bring it
didn't
up.
bring it up.
Exactly.
I find it very odd that she didn't. So I mean, it's just not an issue for either one.
well,
she just
if her
doesn't care.
thoughts on the subject is it's because the kid has the same last name, because, you know what I mean? If she feels that, well, I'm not going to bother her because, I mean, her
What
kids.
does that mean?
That doesn't
Like, I
mean
don't get
anything.
it because the kids have the same last name. That doesn't make any sense to me. I can't wrap my brain about it. I can't figure out a reason. Well, maybe that's why.
I think-
I don't get it.
I don't either. I not when you're not living together. I think that if you
I mean, does it help you with alimony? Does it help you get child support? Like, what is it? Like, I don't get
It
it.
doesn't help with neither
No?
one of them. No.
So then for what?
I don't know. I think the new wife. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow.
Should bring it up to him.
I
I
would.
think the new
I
wife should at
would.
least put the fire under him a little bit.
This
and-
is why I date men that have not been married before. We don't even have to go down this road. Now the
Exactly.
chick after me, if we get to a divorce, she gonna have to worry about that. But I can't be bothered. This is just too much.
It's just yeah.
yeah, but
Where do you get
unfortunately,
these from?
hey, people, stuff happens. These are the kind of things that happen, and you need to know in case you're put in that situation. What would you do? I mean, would that name, is it that important to you that you would care, or, you know, it's
It's
either
the
not,
same thing to me as I'd prefer to date men that do not have children because they do not.
which would limit your pool of men.
Well, then.
And she doesn't mind being limited.
Don't
a
have to
little
be
bit.
limited then because men they not handling their baby mamas right. So
Or just mamas. Some of them didn't even have babies
True.
and they're
Yeah,
still hanging around.
exactly.
true.
So,
Exactly.
but I agree with the baby mama thing. I think the baby mama drama, that's just another form of it, you know, where they want to
just
keep
gotta learn
on
how to
holding.
handle their business. That's
I
all.
think,
That's
you
all
know
it comes
what?
down to.
I don't even think it has to do with spite because it has to do with that woman still having feelings for that man. Because if you don't have any feelings for him, you will not care about Susie Q, whoever he dates later,
Exactly.
whoever he marries. You go on with your
Exactly.
life, you build your life. And there's a lot of women that has been in marriages today for like 30, 40 years, and the husband walks out on them and they restart. You
Exactly.
restart. I mean,
Well, I think that's
You should.
a lot of a few women had said that they wouldn't even remarry because I think that we had asked, you know, what happens when you are divorced and you know now you're ready to remarry, like, you know, what happens then? Like, you can't say it's for the kids at that
But do you
point.
think it's that they don't want to remarry because they just feel like marriage is like, oh, I would never do that again, or is it because they're holding on to the last
I
husband?
think it could be either or. I think it's either because they don't want to go through the whole marriage situation or they just, you know, still have feelings for the last person. But I think my question that I asked, the reason why I asked that question is because everybody kept saying, because of the kids, because of the kids. Okay, well,
then
what
what if
happens
you
when you
wanna
remarry
remarry?
because of the
Exactly.
kids? And then that's when
Exactly.
they came back and say, well, I probably wouldn't remarry.
Wow.
I
Okay. No, that's not,
I
no.
still think I think the underlining thing is they have feelings for that man.
Exactly.
And I think
Exactly.
we as women have a hard time letting go. And it may appear that we have in some cases. A lot of times we don't. We have a hard time. He could be married to 5 other women. Because my thing is, if you're so much into a name, my thing is make sure it's a good name. Because if he's like out prostituting himself with other women and sleeping in and out of the bed with this one, and his name really has no real value or good.
For what?
And unfortunately, the
You
kids
know,
have
and,
to keep
and,
it.
and
but-
sometimes, I mean, even with that, it's not even great for kids because sometimes your kids can go to school and they say, oh, your father
Yeah,
is such and such, and then your kids got to go through all kinds of
Exactly.
turmoil throughout the school year. Or, you know, on baseball teams and stuff like that.
Exactly,
You know,
you're
it's just, it's, people need to think about those things.
Right. Well, as we can tell by one of the answers, men don't. They don't think.
They don't.
They definitely
They
don't
don't.
think
They
about.
don't.
If they can't think about where they're coming from, they're definitely not going to think about anything in the future in terms of making it better. I don't know. I don't know if that. I just think it might be a part of their makeup. They really just don't care. They've moved on, and they're not going to fight with
they just
you.
feel like it's done and over with.
Right.
You know?
I think they really think it's your name. If you want to keep it,
Then go ahead.
then go right ahead. I really think that because I think the person you asked said the same thing. He don't care.
No, he said he didn't care. It wouldn't bother him. Doesn't bother him.
But he's not remarried, though, either.
No, he's not remarried. But I mean, still, like, he just don't care. Like, this doesn't bother him, and you know.
So if it was the other way around, are we saying that we would care if they had our last name and we wanted to
I
be
want my last
married?
name back.
Oh, okay.
You give me
Give
my
mine
last
back.
name back.
Okay, wow.
And I'll fight
I'll
you
give
in
you
court for
yours.
it.
I'll give you yours. You give me mine. That's just how it goes.
I'll fight you in court for my
Alrighty.
name.
Well, thank you for tuning in today. As you can see, this topic has been really, really interesting, and we just want to keep bringing you more and more topics like this, and we're going to leave now, but we'll see you next week. Thank you.